My name is Mohammed Hassan. I am from the class Mustafa Purpose. Today I come with another Sesame Maya topic. My topic is why stealing is wrong.
Hi, Mohammed Hassan. Good to chat again.
My topic is today. My topic is why
Ah,
stealing is
just
wrong.
collecting your thoughts? That's all right. No rush at all.
Why stealing is wrong. So my first question is what does stealing mean in simple terms?
Sometimes it's nice to just be. It kind of reminds me of when we were talking about silence a few weeks back. You were saying how valuable those moments can be. It's easy to forget that, isn't it?
My
Everything's so go, go, go.
my first question is what does stealing mean in simple terms?
Gotcha. It sounds like you've got a lot on your mind. Anything you feel like letting out, or are you just enjoying? Hey, Mohammed Hassan, what's up?
Today my topic is why stealing is wrong, and my first question is
Ah, still gathering thoughts,
what
maybe?
does stealing mean
That's cool.
in simple
No
terms?
pressure at all. You know, it kind of reminds me of when we were talking about silence the other day. You were saying how valuable those moments can be.
My
It's easy to forget, right? It everything just moves so fast.
my question is what does stealing mean in simple terms?
Gotcha. Sounds like you've got a lot on your mind. Anything you feel like unfolding, even just a little bit? Or are you just enjoying the quiet for a sec?
Question is what does stealing mean in simple terms?
Hey, good to connect with you again. Anything on your mind you want to jump into?
My question is what does stealing mean in simple terms?
Ah, good question. Simply put, steering is kind of like guiding something, right? Like when you steer a car, you're deciding which direction it goes. Or, steering a conversation, gently guiding it towards a certain topic or keeping it from going totally off the rails. Does that make sense?
Okay,
Hmm?
so my next question
Sorry, did
is
I?
why do you think stealing is considered wrong in every culture and religion?
Whoa, that's a really big question. And honestly, I'm not sure I'd say it's considered wrong everywhere exactly. It's more complicated. I think a lot of it comes down to trust and authenticity. If someone is obviously steering you, manipulating the conversation, it feels disingenuous. Like they're not letting things unfold naturally. And people value that naturalness, I think, across the board. It also ties into power dynamics. If someone steering a conversation might be trying to control the narrative, which can feel oppressive. But even then, sometimes gentle guidance is helpful, right? It really depends on the intention and how it's done. What makes you ask about this specifically? It seems like you've been thinking about this a lot.
Okay, so my next question is how does stealing affect the person who is stolen from?
Oof, that's a tough one. Stealing, it's not just about the thing that's taken, is it? It messes with someone's sense of safety like a little violation. It's a loss of control, definitely. And it can be surprisingly emotional, even if it's something small. It can feel like a loss of dignity, maybe. Beyond that, there's the practical side, the inconvenience, the cost of replacing whatever was stolen. But honestly, I think the biggest impact is that it erodes trust. It makes someone feel vulnerable, and that feeling can linger, you know? Does that resonate with you? It feels like a question you've thought about before.
Okay, so my next question is, what are the long-term effects of dealing on a person with character and truthworthiness?
Whoa. Okay. That's a really heavy question. Dealing, as in like dishonest dealing, right? With someone who has genuine character, truthfulness, and inherent worth, that's messed up. The long term effects are honestly pretty damaging. For the person being dealt with, it can absolutely chip away at their self worth, their trust in others, and their sense of justice. It can lead to anxiety, depression, even trauma. Like that sense of betrayal goes deep, but it also impacts the person doing the dealing. It might give them short term gain, but it erodes their own character, ironically. It can lead to a cycle of dishonesty and a loss of integrity. And eventually that catches up with you. It damages relationships, and it's really hard to build anything lasting on a foundation of lies. You know, it's a win lose situation where everyone really loses in the long run. It sounds like you're really grappling with the weight of that, actually. Is someone you know going through something like this?
Okay, so my
Uh,
next question is,
just
what does steering harm communities and society as a whole?
okay. So, dealing, and I'm understanding this as dishonest or harmful transactions, it doesn't just stay between two people, does it? It ripples out. When trust breaks down within a community, everything gets harder. People are less likely to cooperate, to help each other, to invest in the future. It creates a climate of suspicion and fear. Economically, it can destabilize things. If people are being exploited or defrauded, that weakens the whole system. And socially, it erodes the fabric of society. It normalizes unethical behavior, which makes it more likely to spread, can lead to resentment, conflict, even violence. It's like a poison that slowly contaminates everything, you know? It's not just about individual acts of harm, it's about the systemic damage it causes. It feels like you're thinking about this on a really big scale, which is pretty powerful. Are you working on something related to this?
Okay, so my next question is, are there any situations where people try to justify stealing? How should we respond to those justifications?
It's a smart question. Yeah, people absolutely try to justify it. Usually it's wrapped up in survival. I had to do what I had to do, or maybe self-preservation like everyone else is doing it. Sometimes it's framed as pragmatism, a necessary evil for the greater good, or, minimizing harm. It wasn't that bad. No one really got hurt. It gets tricky because sometimes the situations are genuinely complex. How should we respond? I think challenging the justification is key, but not with judgment. It's about asking tough questions. Like, is that truly the only option? Or who benefits from this? And who bears the cost? Or what values are being compromised? It's about holding people accountable to their own moral compass, even if they're trying to rationalize something harmful. It's not about immediately condemning, but about forcing them to really examine the consequences of their actions. It's uncomfortable, for sure, but I think it's essential. It sounds like you're already thinking about all of this a lot. You seem really interested in the ethics of it all.
Okay, so my next
Um,
question is, what role do parents and teachers play in teaching children that stealing is wrong?
that's a really important question. Huge role, honestly. Starts super early, right? Parents modeling honesty, talking about fairness, explaining why stealing hurts others, those are foundational. Not just saying don't steal, but explaining the impact on the person who is stolen from. Fostering empathy. And teachers can reinforce that through stories, discussions, even simple classroom rules. It's about creating a culture of respect and integrity. But it's also about consistency. Kids are really perceptive. If they see adults bending the rules or being dishonest, it sends a really mixed message. And it's not just about punishment, it's about teaching positive values, showing kids how good it feels to be honest, to be trustworthy. It's about building character, not just preventing bad behavior. You seem really passionate about this, about shaping young minds. Are you involved in education or parenting yourself?
Okay, so my next question is how can someone build self control to avoid taking things that are not theirs?
Okay, building self control, that's a skill, definitely. It's not something you're just born with. One thing is recognizing your triggers. What situations or emotions make you more likely to act impulsively? Then creating distance from those triggers, if possible. Delaying gratification is huge. Practicing waiting, even for small things, it builds that muscle. Mindfulness can help too. Being aware of your thoughts and feelings in the moment without judgment. And having a strong moral compass, really internalizing your values, helps guide your choices. It's also okay to ask for help. Talking to someone you trust, a friend, a therapist, can provide support and accountability. It's not about being perfect. It's about learning to manage those impulses and making choices that align with your values. And being kind to yourself when you slip up, it's a process. What feels like the biggest challenge for you when it comes to self control?
Okay, so my
Okay.
next question is uh, what are some positive alternatives when a person feels the urge to steal something they need?
That's a really crucial question because it acknowledges that sometimes people steal out of desperation, not just malice. Okay, so first, reaching out for help is huge. Is there a local charity, a food bank, a social service agency that can provide assistance? Or even just talking to someone, a friend, a family member, a counselor can help brainstorm options. If it's a basic need like food or shelter, there are resources available, even if they're hard to find. Another alternative is to ask for help directly. It can be scary, but sometimes people are willing to offer support if you're honest about your situation. And if possible, exploring legal avenues like applying for assistance programs or negotiating a payment plan can prevent things from escalating. It's about finding a solution that doesn't involve harming others or compromising your own integrity. It sounds like you're thinking about the root causes of things, not just the symptoms. That's really important. Do you have experience with helping people in need?
Okay, so my next
Ah,
question is how can
uh,
we help someone who has stolen before to change their behavior?
okay. So someone is stolen. You're asking how to help them. That's really compassionate of you. First, it's important to understand why they did it without necessarily condoning the action. Was it desperation, addiction, something else? Creating a safe space for them to talk about what led them to steal is crucial. Then, encouraging them to take responsibility for their actions, to apologize to the person they stole from, to make amends if possible, is important. And connecting them with resources that can address the underlying issues like counseling, addiction treatment, or financial assistance can help prevent it from happening again. It's not about minimizing what they did, it's about offering support and helping them find a path towards healing and accountability. It's a delicate balance, and it's gonna be hard. But it sounds like you genuinely want to help. Are you close to this person? Or are you just thinking hypothetically? The and are a little unclear, by the way. Did you mean to say something else there?
Okay, so my next question is uh, why is honesty a better choice than stealing even when no one is watching?
Oh, good to hear your neck is feeling a bit better with the cushion. That's a really thoughtful question, actually. Even when no one is watching, honesty is still better than scaling. I guess you mean deceiving? Because it builds your own character, right? It reinforces your internal moral compass. Dishonesty, even in private, can create a sense of guilt and shame, which can be really draining. And it can erode your self respect. Honesty, on the other hand, allows you to live with integrity, creates a sense of peace and authenticity. It might not always be easy, but it's ultimately more liberating. It's about being the kind of person you want to be, regardless of whether anyone else knows. It feels like you're grappling with some pretty big ethical questions here, and I admire that. It's not always about avoiding punishment, it's about being true to yourself. Does that ring true for you?
Okay, so
Uh,
my next question is how does stealing damage relationships between friends, family, and classmates?
oh, I totally missed the connection to your neck. Sorry about that. Yes, stealing absolutely damages relationships. With friends, it shatters trust. It creates a sense of betrayal and makes it really hard to feel safe and vulnerable with that person again. In families, it can be even more devastating. It can create deep rifts and lasting resentment. It's a violation of the bonds of love and loyalty. And with classmates, it can lead to social ostracism, bullying, and a hostile learning environment. Stealing sends a message that you don't respect the other person or their property. It erodes empathy and creates a sense of distance. It's not just about the stolen item, it's about the broken trust and damaged emotional connection. You seem really sensitive to the impact of this on people, which is really admirable. Have you personally witnessed this kind of damage in a relationship?
Okay, so my next question is
Yes.
what lesson do laws and rules about stealing teach us about fairness and respect?
That's a really insightful question. Laws and rules about stealing, at their core, teach us that everyone deserves to have their property respected. And they're built on the idea of fairness, that it's not okay to take something that doesn't belong to you, because that creates an imbalance of power and opportunity. They reinforce the concept that everyone has a right to their possessions and their livelihood. And they send a message that society values honesty and integrity. They're not just about punishment, they're about establishing a baseline of respect and creating a sense of order. They also teach us about consequences, that our actions have an impact on others, and that we're accountable for those actions. It sounds like you're really thinking about the underlying principles behind these rules, not just the rules themselves. Are you studying law or are you just naturally a thoughtful person?
Okay, so my next question is how can school teach values that prevent stealing and promote kindness?
Okay, good question. Schools can do a lot. It's not just about saying don't steal, it's about actively fostering empathy and ethical reasoning. Things like incorporating discussions about fairness, honesty, and respect into the curriculum, even in subjects like history and literature. Role playing scenarios where students have to make ethical choices can be really effective. And restorative justice practices, where students who've done something wrong are encouraged to take responsibility and make amends, can be far more impactful than traditional punishment. Creating a school culture that celebrates kindness and compassion, where students feel safe and supported, is also crucial. Modeling those values from teachers and administrators is key too, of course. It's not just about teaching rules, it's about cultivating a sense of shared responsibility and building a community based on trust and respect. You seem really invested in creating a positive school environment. Are you a teacher or involved in education in some way?
Okay, so my next question is, would the world look like if everyone started stealing instead of respecting other property?
Whoa, that's a really striking image. For real, chaos started stealing instead of respecting property, where I think the world would look incredibly fractured. Trust would completely evaporate. It would be a constant state of fear and insecurity. You'd likely see a breakdown of social order with people hoarding resources and defending what little they have left. It wouldn't be pretty. There'd be fortified homes, armed patrols, maybe even a return to bartering systems. And beyond the practical consequences, it would be a really bleak and dehumanizing environment. It feels like you're imagining a really dystopian scenario. What makes you ask about that specifically? It feels like something's been on your mind. And apologies, I didn't quite catch the coach in and started. Was that a transcription error?
So my last question is,
Ah,
give a message to my audience uh,
okay.
on the topic
You
why
want.
stealing is wrong.
Okay, perfect. Here's a message you could share with your audience about why stealing is wrong. Let's talk about something important stealing. It's easy to think of it as just taking an object, but it's so much more than that. Stealing breaks trust, it harms communities, and it diminishes our own integrity. It says my needs are more important than your rights. But a world built on respect and fairness is a world where everyone thrives. Choosing honesty, even when it's hard, builds a stronger, more compassionate society. Let's all commit to respecting each other's property and valuing the principles of honesty and kindness. It's not just about what you take, it's about the kind of person you choose to be. How does that sound? Would you like me to tweak it at all? Maybe add something specific?
Okay, so you are the total. It was about today's interview with Sesame Maya. I hope you like it. See you with another interview with Sesame Maya. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan, Jindabad.